Hi everyone, I'm Rick Dempsey, and I'm here today to talk about cardiac rehabilitation with the Heartstrong rehabilitation team at Futurecare. The goal for every Heartstrong rehab program is to get you home faster and stronger following an injury or surgery. The 4 rehabilitation programs that make up Heartstrong, the number 1, Heartstrong, which is the cardiac rehabilitation program, and that's what we're here to talk to you today about. Breathstrong, which is pulmonary rehabilitation. Walkstrong, which is the orthopedic rehabilitation program, and Campstrong, which is our comprehensive amputee management program. I will be heading the Facebook Live event for each specialty program that we have to talk about Futurecare experts in each of these areas. Today, our first event in our Heartstrong, where I'm looking forward to answering all of your questions as well as asking a few myself. So right now, I'd like to turn it over to our girl here, Jessica Sobel, and she's going to introduce all of our team of members right here. I'm happy to be part of this. Go ahead.
Yes. Thanks, Rick. I'm Jessica Sobel. I'm the Director of Rehab here at Futurecare Homewood, and thank you for joining in today. Today with us, we have Dr. Antonio Abreu, our house physiatrist. We have Stephanie Nicholson, our Assistant Director of Nursing, to discuss the nurse navigator role. We have Lauren Maddox, an occupational therapist, who are going to teach us about a heart-healthy diet and how to cook heart-healthy. And we also have Keita Moore, Doctorate of Physical Therapy, who's going to teach us about exercise and understanding your heart rate.
Jessica, would you tell us something about Heartstrong in our program today?
Sure. So Heartstrong is geared for patients like you and I, Rick, people who are living independently in the community, who may have an old cardiac issue, an exacerbation of a cardiac issue, or a newly diagnosed cardiac issue, and need to go somewhere for rehab. After a short-term stay in the hospital, they come to us, and we essentially provide them a toolbox of wellness. We teach them how to live with their disease and their cardiac issues and return to the community to enjoy everything that they were doing before they became ill or went to the hospital.
Obviously, one of the most important parts of the body is the heart. So this is very, very important that you know exactly what we're talking about here. Dr. Abreu, you are a physiatrist. Mm-hmm. Not very many people know what physiatrist really is. I learned today it's really not so technical.
It's not that technical. It's actually a term that was coined to try to put a name to what we actually do, which is actually physical medicine and rehabilitation. So we are the medical part of the rehab team that is not necessarily the primary care physician. So we're a bridge between both areas, and we try to help the patients by improving their quality of life and taking them back to a prior level of function.
Thank you. Now, Stephanie, you're part of the Nurse Navigator program. Tell me how that applies to this Heartstrong.
Well, Rick, the Nurse Navigator is a RN coordinator for the program, and the primary focus initially when a patient comes to us is to make the patient feel at home. We realize that in a hospitalization, there may have been things that have occurred, a heart attack, maybe fluid overload, that put that person not at ease. So our goal is to put them back in the driver's seat. Mm-hmm. So once they leave here, they can go home and feel very comfortable, very well in control, knowledgeable about what they're doing and how they're doing it. 3 of the areas in which the Nurse Navigator is very important is, number 1, planning for discharge. Planning for discharge begins on day number 1. The focus is to educate the patient on medication, on signs and symptoms of their disease, on how their life might be a little bit different now that some major event may have occurred that put them in the hospital, but to encourage them to reach towards their highest point, maximal point of wellness. The second area is a clinical facilitator. The Nurse Navigator is a facilitator of everything that happens on the clinical scene. They're the focal point of helping the staff to understand the areas of deficit, whether it is education about medication or safety needs, so that the staff is well versed through the care plan and how to take care of the resident. And that will help to provide ongoing assessments, readjustments of any medication by the cardiologist and a nurse practitioner to help that individual once again feel well in control of what they're doing. And the third area is, of course, our education tools. We use many education tools, two of which here are the participant guide and the education guide. Within these education tools, we look to equip the individual with specific information about understanding heart failure. You know, where is your heart at now? What kind of things or symptoms can you look for when you're going into not too good of a zone, like exacerbation? How to monitor your weight, and some of the triggers that may prompt you to know that you need to contact your physician. Maybe medication adjustment is needed once you go home. And the medication, all the new medications that they may be on, whether it's medication to take fluid off of their body or to increase their heart function or to lower their blood pressure. It's important that they're knowledgeable about these things because it increases compliance with medication, compliance with treatment, and compliance with following up with physicians. And last but not least, overall, the nurse navigator does stay in contact with the person once they leave. They do a follow-up contact and to make sure that that person is well in control of their condition once they leave here and they go into the community, because our goal is success.
Stephanie, contact is very important. I mean, what would be a little bit intimidating to me is once you want to begin the program and you get here, you walk in here, you see all of this equipment, you see all of these people. So you're kind of saying really they'll take you by the hand and actually walk you through your program and explain all the things you were just talking about as you go, right? So you don't have to worry about just coming, I've got to start over here. And you're not going to start the program on your own. You're going to be, have somebody there with you at all times.
Yes, and the importance of the Nurse Navigator program is that they're with the person every step of the way. You know, they get to know them. They get to individualize their plan of care. And they get to answer questions and facilitate contact with their physician and help them in any way in which they need. Even as far as making referrals to social work, for social work to follow up, or dietary, because they're concerned about, what they're eating and how what they're eating now has changed.
Mm-hmm. Now, Lauren, you're up. I know a healthy diet is a big part of a healthy heart. So talk a little about your involvement in this whole thing and preparing people or getting people up to par on exactly how they should eat in order to keep a healthy heart.
Yeah, so one of the things we really try to hone in on is educating the patient that cardiovascular disease and diet go hand in hand. So we are constantly educating them that low sodium is most important. The more salt intake you have, the more water you hold, which therefore increases your blood pressure and then can lead to another cardiovascular event. So we try to, really focus on healthy foods, eating fruits and vegetables, low calorie, high fiber. That way you're not, wasting those calories on bad things like snacks and chips and such. It's important that you don't skip meals because skipping meals can affect your metabolism. Yeah. And then there's some other aspects that we really want to educate to our patients, such as, baking, broiling, grilling rather than frying. Yeah. Fried foods are always not recommended. Fast foods, sodas, you want to stay away from.
It's always so good though.
I know, I agree, but we definitely want to stay away from that, especially.
Can we do French fries?
I know, especially if you're in your, if you have a cardiovascular issue, you definitely want to stay away from that. Yeah. And then something really cool that we did here with the Heartstrong program is we teamed up with the American Heart Association, and they created with us an entire recipe, a cookbook filled with recipes for, teaching the patient when they go home different things they can cook that's healthy and also good.
So everybody's going to get one of those?
Yes, yep, everyone in our Heartstrong
After all
program.
This time, I need it.
So we're actually going to head into the kitchen now and cook up a meal.
Oh, good. Okay. Let's go.
Oh, okay, yeah. Rick, we're going to teach you how to cook a heart-healthy meal.
Oh, right.
Because learning how to cook is essential for your wellness.
I do a little cooking. I spend a lot of time by myself.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So we have this low sodium, low calorie recipe, a Fiesta chicken stir fry. And you're going to get to try it out.
What's the deal with the low sodium? Whenever I go get sushi or something like that, they're always talking about one is low sodium, the soy sauce, and the other one is not. What does sodium have to do with it?
Sodium can increase your blood pressure and can also cause you to retain fluid. If your body starts retaining fluid, your heart has to work harder. So just getting rid of simple things like a high sodium diet, you're putting ease on your heart and you're helping your body function. Your heart is your strongest muscle and we need to keep it healthy.
Okay, good.
Okay.
I'm not ready to start cooking here. All
You'll
right.
do fine.
All right. Well, we start first with the protein,
Yes.
right? Okay. We've already cooked this up a little bit, so I'm going to leave it up there.
So we're going to put it on and add our yummy vegetables and then the good seasonings.
All right. We want to do the salsa next here.
Yep.
We got some chicken in here and with the salsa, so how should I regulate this?
I would add, it says about 3 tablespoons, so I can get us a spoon.
Of this?
Yep.
All right,
of the
there's
salsa.
1. There's 2. I get this, but there's 3. Okay, 3 tablespoons. That's good. That's about
Let's
right.
add some spice to it
Yeah.
too, Rick.
Okay.
Everybody relies so heavily on salt, but there's so many other ways to season your food. So we got
Yeah.
you some chili powder.
Okay.
We're only going to use a little bit of it, so just
Just a
season a
little
little
bit.
bit because it's chili powder.
I know
Okay.
it's going to come. You can just do it over.
Just a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
That-
Go ahead.
Toss it in.
That's a touch. Okay. All right.
Some cilantro.
Cilantro. Now, okay, what is that? Cilantro, I've heard the word, but exactly. Okay. No, I need a little. Do I need
Yes,
this
yeah.
for it? Okay. All right.
You look good in the kitchen, Rick. You look like you have some experience here.
A little bit. But it's always that nice burger on the side that works, just in case you mess things up. Okay, cilantro.
Yes.
I got that in there now. It's starting to look pretty good.
It is.
It's a good thing you girls prepared it ahead of time, otherwise I wouldn't have known how to do that. Okay,
We're going to
now,
add some of our veggies. You don't have to add the whole thing.
yeah, now this has like onions in it, right? So, is onions good for you? A lot. I love them in everything. But-
I love onions too.
and peppers.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's all vegetables, onions and peppers and.
I get a lot of this. My wife's Italian, so I get
Oh,
it.
nice, nice.
Okay,
But
I can really put as much as
vegetables are
I
important. You can use as much vegetables
much
as you want.
as you want in there. Okay, I'll put a little
And if
extra.
you look up here, we have the myplate.gov.
Uh-huh.
So what it does is it's telling you how much portions you should be eating. And
Now
in your
that's
meals.
important. You see, I wouldn't have never thought that the protein was going to be the least amount of everything.
Well,
you
actually,
put
a
in
lot of
there.
the times the protein is high in fat and high in calories. So what they want you to eat healthy proteins like we have
I
here.
have never seen a
Yes.
fat chicken.
Well, like,
Come on.
like skin chicken and stuff like that. But you really want to get a lot of vegetables. So you
Yeah,
added
I
just the
did.
right amount.
I get it. So
And then we'll add a little bit of black pepper.
all right. Now they always say pepper and salt are really bad for you, but that's what we're dealing with. A little
Yes,
bit.
A
So.
little bit.
Okay.
In moderation.
You want to limit your salt intake. Pepper is fine. We're just finding other ways to get creative and learn how to season our food. And that way
Okay.
we can stay healthy. And our heart will be stronger and we'll be eating healthier
Okay.
and your body's healthy.
All right. I got that.
Okay.
Now the salt.
No
No
salt.
No salt? Come on.
No salt. But you know what, Rick? You bring up a good point. We are so
Yeah.
stuck in our ways of
Yeah.
how to eat that everybody just automatically reaches and grabs the salt before even tasting their food.
I've
And
got to do it in everything that I make. Soup, you put a nice little handful of salt
Right.
in there with the boiling water.
So there are so many spices out there that we can still keep spice in your life, get rid of the salt, and that's one of the reasons too why it's really important to work with a dietitian so you can understand how to read food labels. As you see, we have a label up there.
Yeah.
A good dietitian will work with you, will teach you what your body can have and what you shouldn't have, and they'll teach you how to read food labels. So it's really great, and we recommend that everyone gets highly involved with a dietitian. Here at all of our facilities, we have an in-house dietitian who meets with all the patients, and they're also a big part of our Heartstrong program. So how's
Lord.
it going?
It's going pretty good.
I'm gonna turn
But I got to ask you, Laura, though, when you want to get into this stuff right here, does it mean you have to go home and empty the entire pantry out of everything in order to start eating healthy?
Of course not, no. So it's definitely, like she said, reading the serving labels. If a canned soup says 3 servings, don't eat the whole canned soup by yourself. Or look at the sodium content and say, maybe I shouldn't eat this canned soup because it is really high in sodium and I don't want to take all that salt and, you know, put your heart at risk.
Right.
But definitely reading everything and trying to break up your serving sizes is really important.
Okay. Well, this looks pretty good.
It
I
does.
know
It's very
there's
colorful.
Not a whole lot of things in there that remind me of bad food that I
No.
shouldn't eat. So we just heat this up and throw it in a nice soft taco shell, and
Yep,
I'm ready
that's
to
what
rock
we
and
got
roll.
for you, yeah. And it's quick and easy. It takes about 15 minutes, if that, to
All right.
do the whole thing.
Well, good. Thank you. And of course, you're going to learn a lot about this when you come around here. Everybody's going to be talking about the way to prepare your food from that point on. So that's okay. So good. So now I know from my own experience that when you're rehabbing, the most important thing is exercise. That's the key part of getting yourself back on track again. So now that we're finished with our little cooking program, I'm going to head over to the exercise machines and we'll go from there. All right. Thank you, girls.
No problem. I'll take you over, Rick. You're absolutely right. Exercise is key when you're working in this program. Exercise helps reduce your blood pressure, helps relieve stress. Exercise helps your body overall and improve the strength of your heart and improve your overall aerobic function.
Yeah.
Rick, here's Keita.
I know Keita's got too big a smile on her face. She's ready to put me through the program here.
Well, I see
All
that
right.
you finished
This
preparing
is-
your heart healthy diet, so you're all fueled up for your exercise today.
Yeah, but I could use a little nap right now.
No. Perfect time to exercise. You're ready to run for it.
Okay,
So,
good. So we're on the bike machine
just
here now.
before we even
These
start-
things are intimidating from the very beginning because I don't know how to press all the buttons and really what to look for and what to worry about. You know what goes on
And
here.
we'll take care of all of that.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about exercise, we want to talk about there are 3 types of exercise. So you have your light exercise, which is like just light walking, gardening, housekeeping.
Right.
We also have our moderate levels of exercise, which are brisk walking,
Jogging.
a light jog.
Yeah.
And we also have our vigorous activity, which would be a hard run, competitive
Yes.
sports activities. And to classify those categories, it's based on your maximum heart rate. And so I did a little history check on you
Yeah.
and reviewing your chart. And heart rate varies, your max heart rate varies based on your age. So yours is a little bit different than mine.
My age is a little different from yours.
So
Okay.
your max heart rate is 150. Mine would be 180. So those activities are based on the percentages. So with moderate activity, which we'll have you do today, that's 60 to 70% of your max heart rate, which for you would be about 90 to 105 beats per minute.
Really?
If we're going to move to a vigorous activity, that would be about 105 to 120 beats per minute. If we start moving a little bit above 120, we're starting to get those upper levels where we might be a little concerned that
Yeah.
you're working a little bit too aggressively, because your heart beats to supply the demands of your body. So the more activity you're doing, you need more blood pumping
Yeah.
throughout your system to supply your muscles and your organs with oxygen and nutrition. So first we're going to review how to take your heart rate. Now, the
Yeah,
most
that would be
reliable
important.
way, and I know with technology today, we have a lot of gadgets and devices. So I have my smartwatch. A lot of people have smartwatches.
I have a dumb watch. I just don't wear it. I don't want people to know. But go ahead.
The most reliable way to check your pulse with the stethoscope.
Right.
Auscultate your right at your heart. But when you're doing activity, the basic one is to check at your forearm on your radial pulse.
So you showed me a little while ago.
Yes.
You want
All
to
right.
keep your hand up?
So you're gonna turn your palm up.
Yep.
And on the outside of your forearm, you're gonna palpate for
Oh,
your
I
pulse
can do
with
it
your
like
2
this.
fingers. Yes.
Yeah. Two key fingers.
2 fingers. Do you feel your pulse?
Don't ever use these 2 fingers
Okay.
right here because the ring probably gets in the way.
Okay.
Sorry. Okay, go ahead.
All right. And you're going to count how many beats you feel within 1 minute. So I'm going to time you, and you're going to give me.
I actually feel a heartbeat.
You feel a heartbeat. That's
All right,
good.
yeah,
That's
okay.
good. We know
All
you're
right,
alive.
you tell me when to start.
All right. Okay. All right. Ready? Go.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
You're right, Keita.
12,
Understanding your heart
13.
rate before you exercise, when you're resting, and during exercise is really important because you need to know what your resting heart rate is prior to starting, and then you need to know what your heart rate is that you should try to achieve while you're exercising.
7, 28, 29, 30.
Okay, you can stop.
Okay.
Okay. So, your resting heart rate is 62. I'm sorry. Your resting heart rate is 62. So with that, we can tell what you are at rest. I think you had a question earlier about some effects, different effects on your heart rate.
Of caffeine?
Yes.
I had 3 little cups of coffee this morning, so it's probably going to raise it up. How many beats per minute do you think that would do?
It varies, but that's
Yeah.
why it's important to know what your resting heart rate is
Yeah.
initially. So if you're going to exercise and you have a cup of coffee and you check your heart rate after the coffee and it's at about 80 or 85, you know that coffee had a little bit or a significant effect on your heart rate. All right, so we're going to get you started. You can just start pedaling.
Okay, yeah. All right.
And this is getting your muscles pumping, getting your blood flowing,
Yeah.
and raising your heart rate. So your organs, your lungs, your heart, your muscles, they need oxygen and nutrition to perform. And you're putting an increased demand that's just walking around on your heart. So
Right.
that's why your heart rate's going to increase. So we're going to have you pedal for a little bit.
Yeah.
Try to see if you can break a sweat in a little bit. Hard. You're doing well.
I'd have to
You
put
feel
a.
comfortable?
Yeah, I feel very comfortable. And probably because, I'm not rehabbing from anything right now, so
Okay.
it probably feel a little more comfortable than the average patient that is in here.
All right.
And you certainly don't ever have to deal with patients with a heartbeat that's too low.
Well, sometimes we do. Now, a heart rate can come up as too low. Now, if it comes in under 60 beats per minute, we do look at that as being a bradycardic heart rate.
I made it under the wire,
So you made it-
62.
Yes, but if you're a conditioned athlete like as yourself, it may actually come in a little bit lower, which is also important while you consult with your physician, so he can give you the norms. And so as the program, as we discussed, education is a big component of the Heartstrong program.
Yeah.
So instead of just focusing on the physical activity and having you going through the motions of improving your functional mobility, we also educate our patients on how to monitor their vital signs, whether it's heart rate, blood pressure, to understand what their norms are and the extremes of those norms, so that when they transition home, they know how to monitor themselves and know
Right.
what the extremes are when they should contact their physician or call 911. Okay.
What your main purpose really is to get people working better and maybe improving on these machines so that you can get them home faster and
Yes,
stronger.
faster and stronger.
But you're also regulating every single day, and every single time I get on this machine, if something isn't clicking like you really want it to
Yes.
be, then you're gonna shut me down right away and get
Yes.
a physician in here to make sure
Yes.
that I'm gonna be all right.
We're going to make adjustments, which is
Yeah.
also what the nurse navigator spoke of. So we're going to coordinate our services with the nurse navigator, with our
Yeah.
physician, with our physiatrist, and discuss how we can change that plan of care to make it best for you so that we can get you home faster and also get you there and stay there.
All right, what else you got other than this bike?
We're going to have you come off the bike.
Okay,
All right. So we're going to have you go on to the treadmill.
the treadmill.
But before
Now I'm
you
used
do
to this
that,
one.
How about you check your heart rate?
Oh, you want me to check it now?
Yes.
Okay,
All right.
tell me when.
Okay, you can start.
1, 2.
And while you're checking your heart rate, Rick, Keita, you brought up a good point that while we are working our patients out and we're taking them through our cardiac program, you're being overseen by your physiatrist, you're being overseen by your nurse navigator. It's a huge comprehensive team. We also have cardiologists who come in the building and round on our patients one-on-one. So you get that specialized attention that you need to be successful in this program. That, with a healthy diet and a good workout, is what the Heartstrong program is all about. We're giving you all the keys for success so you can return home and be healthy and happy and enjoy your life.
I can't listen and take my heart rate at the same time.
Okay, you can stop.
Okay,
Okay, your heart rate came in, I was watching you, at 75. So you're just below, I'm sorry, your heart rate came in at 75, so you're just below your moderate activity. So we have you on the treadmill to see if we can pump it up a little bit more, up to 90.
yeah, so you're gonna use more than one piece of equipment
Yes,
if I
we-
come in here?
Yes, definitely, because we need to address different aspects and get your heart pumping
Yeah,
and improve that cardiac function.
And the machines you use here, if I put my hands on this bar, it tells you what my heart rate is at that point too,
Yes, they
doesn't
can.
it?
So
Yeah.
we have multiple ways to
Are they
measure your
accurate?
heart. They are accurate, but they also are variable, and medications can affect those changes as well. So that's why
Yeah.
we have the team approach to identify what's most accurate. There's also a scale called the Perceived Exertion Scale. So that's actually a visual scale that you can look at, and it goes from rest to maximal effort.
Yeah.
And that one, when you're in the midst of doing an activity, it's kind of hard to stop the activity in the middle of that and check your pulse or take a hand off while you're in the middle of the treadmill activity. So this way you can actually tell me if the activity is becoming too hard or too difficult for
Yeah.
you. So we can kind of gauge that and adjust activity as well. So you ready to get
When
started?
you're rehabbing somebody and they get on this machine and they start to push it a little bit.
Yes.
Okay. Is this something that you really want to see?
Yes, we want to stress the system to a certain extent so that we can see what the effects are with the stress of the system.
Yeah.
But we don't want to push it too hard to where we have adverse effects.
Yeah. One thing that I was always concerned about when I was a professional athlete playing all the time was how quick my recovery time is. Do you measure that at the same
Yes,
time?
we do. So we want to follow how fast you recover and if you recover. So if you're not recovering within several minutes to a resting heart rate or a good heart rate, then we need to seek other attention to see what's going to be the next form of action for you.
How many more machines are you going to make me
This
do?
is it for today.
This is
I
it for
promise.
today?
Yes.
All right. All right.
All right,
Let's get it started. Hold on while we
Okay.
get started. And we have a question. It's from Diane. Is it better to use a treadmill
You
or
have to-
walk outside?
So it depends on your level of activity. So this is why you're consulting with us from a rehab perspective. So if you're at a level where you're new with your rehab program, then walking outside or light walk might be the best option. As we improve your overall function and activity tolerance, then we can progress to a treadmill activity which would be more intense.
I like that because I do a lot of walking outside. Can't run anymore.
We're increasing you a little bit.
Okay.
How are you feeling?
I feel great. You're going to
On
have
your
to.
scale here, how would you rate it?
Right now, it's really easy.
Really easy?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go for a little bit longer.
Okay.
Let's see if we can get to that sort of hard level.
Okay. Sort of hard. Yeah. Yeah. All right.
You're not smiling.
This
You're
is still
focusing.
no. This is still fairly easy.
Fairly easy?
Thank God, it's fairly easy for me right now.
Okay.
So. Yeah. Now we're getting up there.
All
That's
right.
good.
So you mentioned some of the levels. So some things that we need to focus on when you're doing activity. So we need to know when it's time to stop. So we want to focus on pain. If you get to a level where you're having pain in your legs, particularly pain in your chest, any shortness of breath, then that means you need to stop. Any
Yeah.
cold chills, cold sweats, then that means you need to stop your activity.
Yeah.
As we discussed too, if you stop and they stay calm and you don't have any
Yeah.
new symptoms, then you're doing pretty well. But if they come along again when you start your activity and exercises again, then you need to consult your physician because you're having an intolerance to your exercise program.
Right.
Also, too, if you're in the midst of an activity, particularly as you transition home and you're having complaints and pains and they're not resolving, you need to call 911 because that's an emergency
Yeah.
situation.
That's important. This really isn't fair for the viewers to watch me because right now I'm not rehabbing from anything.
Exactly.
And so I could probably push it up there to a nice jog, which I don't want to do because I don't want to mess up my nice, sweat up
Or
my
your shoes.
Vital
Right.
Strong shirt.
All
Oh
right.
yeah, with my regular shoes.
We're
Yeah.
going to bring you down.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Well, there's certainly enough equipment here to get the job done. If you're trying to increase the strength of your heart and everything, plenty of stuff here to do. I like that machine over there too, where it actually lifts your weight up and you can actually like kind of run, but you're taking a lot of the stress off of your knees and everything. That's pretty
So
cool.
we have another question, Rick and Keita. Is from Bob. I find that exercise is boring and easily gets crowded. by more enjoyable things in life. What can I do to make exercise a priority? That's a really good question, Bob. Thank you. I think it's really important to understand your health and understand your well-being and know what you need to do in order to live a healthy life. Remind yourself when you're exercising of all those enjoyable things that you like to do, and they're the reasons why you're continuing to exercise. And also, you can incorporate those enjoyable things that you enjoy to do into your life. So while you're exercising, let's say you like to garden, you can garden with heavier pots, you can lift the pots. If you enjoy walking your dog, start taking your dog on a brisk walk or jogging through the neighborhood with your dog. It's important to incorporate things that you enjoy every day and make it part of your daily routine.
Yeah, if you play golf or something like that too, you know,
That's
get
a great
lot of-
example. You
yeah.
can actually not even use the golf cart and walk
You-
the golf
not
course.
use a golf cart, or just use it for. My wife does a great job. She walks 9 holes and then she uses a golf cart, depending on how difficult the golf course is that you use. There's a lot of ways to find, you know, little things that you can get exercise in doing. Because if you don't exercise, then you're hurting yourself, and you want to keep your heart strong. There's no doubt about that. So you got to find little ways to get it done. Whether if your grandchildren, they need to go to the park or something like that, you know, sacrifice a little bit, get a little exercise, walk a half a mile with them to the park or back, or a quarter of a mile, whatever it might be. But find some way, even if you're standing in place, to lift some light weights or something, anything you can do to increase your heart rate on a daily basis, and then eat well at the same time. Your energy level will increase, and then it won't become so boring.
You got it, Rick. You just said the key. You just said it. You got to eat well and monitor your health and exercise. Eat well, exercise, and know your medications and know what you need to do in order to be successful. And you can go home and return and have the same life that you enjoyed prior to your recent hospitalization.
Absolutely. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed learning about Heartstrong program today. Join us again on September the 6th right here on Facebook, when we will be discussing pulmonary rehabilitation and our Breathe Strong program. So everybody, have a great day. Don't forget, if you got some questions for us, the next program, don't be afraid to type in. We love hearing from you.
Thank you, Rick. And we'd also, Keita, Lauren, and I would like to thank you for helping us out here today. We've got you a Heartstrong
Yeah.
t-shirt
All
and
right,
the Heart
all right.
Healthy cookbook. So you can
Well, let's
be
have a
successful
team
at
hug.
home.
Team hug. Thank you very much. Hey, tough
Thank
job,
you.
but somebody's got to do it.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, good. Thank you.
You're a Heartstrong hero.
Huh?
You're a Heartstrong hero.
Thank you very much.